The Washington Capitals are on a roll, going 8-1-1 in their last 10. Dan Holmi of Locked On Capitals joins us to discuss that, the latest news on Alexander Ovechkin, and all things Capitals as we head into the 2023 part of our schedule.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to the Locked On NHL Podcast. Gil Martin, so glad you could be with us today, and thank you for making Locked On NHL your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the show the host of Locked On Capitals, Dan Holmi. And Dan, 8-1-1 in your last 10. The Capitals seem to have found their groove. What's been the big difference during this last 10-game streak?
So the biggest difference was that Peter Laviolette had a meeting with the team, and they said that, basically you guys are responsible. We're going to give you the plays. It's up to you guys to execute them. And they've been doing that, and they've been stringing together some wins, some decisive victories, not backing into victory. But, you take a look at the win against the Canadiens where they beat them. The score was 9-2, I want to say, at the end of the game. And it's just a team that's buying into the message that Peter Laviolette is selling. And it's a team that is getting wins despite the myriad of injuries facing the team.
Yeah, they're still without a lot of different players. I mean, Nicholas Backstrom, Carl Hagelin, Tom Wilson, John Carlson even out, TJ Oshie day-to-day. It seems like there's a lot of guys who are missing from this lineup. Who are some of the players who have stepped up and filled in these gaps?
So the biggest pleasant surprise, I would say, is Eric Gustafsson on the blue line, where he didn't score a goal the entire season, and then he scored a hat trick in one game, and then he scored another goal the game after that. So 4 goals in 2 games. He has been a pleasant surprise. He has continued to get that production. The Capitals also did some bargain shopping. They picked up Sonny Milano, who was released from a PTO from Calgary, and Nicholas Aube-Kubel from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and both of those players have chipped in. Sonny Milano's got a good nose for the puck. He's got a high hockey IQ. And Nicholas Aube-Kubel, when he first came here, I think he was trying to take on the role that Tom Wilson has, as kind of that tough guy. Well, that landed him in a suspension. He has since kind of stuck to what he does best and be just a really great playmaker. So they're getting some production from Ovechkin, of course, but they're also getting scoring up and down the lineup. They're getting it on the fourth line from Dowd and Hathaway. So it's just everyone's buying and pulling on the rope.
That always does help. Talk to me a little bit about Dylan Strome and what kind of role he's had on the second line.
So Dylan Strome was a player that was brought in Nicholas Backstrom's absence, and he has played a huge role, a great playmaker. He has vacillated between the second and first line and has done a really great job on this team. He signed a 1-year deal as, I think, honestly, of course, because Nicholas Backstrom is out and kind of to see what they have. But the good thing about Strome is that he can also play the wing. So even when Backstrom comes back, which is going to be a lot sooner than anyone thought, he could always, either slot down the lineup at center or he could possibly play the wing. A really pleasant surprise. The Chicago Blackhawks loss is the Capitals' gain.
No question about that. Look, we can't talk Capitals without talking Alexander Ovechkin. This guy's not slowing down. I mean, what is he doing so well this year that, at this age and after all the games that he's played over the course of his career, he doesn't, other than the gray hair, he doesn't seem to be playing that differently than he did 5 years ago.
And he got a hat trick in the last game. Ovechkin got a hat trick, his 30th career hat trick and second this season. It's Ovechkin's 30th hat trick and the 6th most points in NHL history. Alex Ovechkin now has 806. So he is just humming along and doing really great things. Ovechkin hit numerous historic milestones in December, finishing the month with 13 goals and 9 assists through 15 games and recording points in 11 of those 15 matchups. Not only, but Ovechkin has also passed Ray Bourque for the most shots in NHL history. So we all know that he is chasing down Wayne Gretzky, but it's not even that. It's the shots. It's everything. Most shots and goals on the road. He is just all these milestones are happening, within this season. And what that's all about is it's kind of the culmination of a lifetime in hockey, and all of his hard work is coming to fruition. And now that is why you're starting to see all these milestones get knocked out one after the other, one after the other. He is projected to pass Wayne Gretzky in the 24-25 season. But if he continues at this clip, I think he's going to hit that maybe even sooner than anyone thinks.
Very, very possible. One question mark heading into this season for the Capitals was goaltending. And, they go out and they get Darcy Kemper, and no one was really sure how he would fare in Washington. And yet now, instead of one good goaltender, it looks like the Capitals have a pair. Talk to me about the goaltending and how they've contributed to the team's success.
So we all know Darcy Kemper is a really great goaltender, won the Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche this year, but he faced an injury this season where he was slashed by Toffoli. And so what subsequently happened is he was taken out of the game, and Charlie Lindgren stepped in. Charlie Lindgren, who is not necessarily a household name around the league, kind of came in. He was an AHL goalie for the Blues last season, but came here and solidified that net position. He was a backup in name only. He was named one of the stars of the week. So a backup goalie. And, we're talking about accolades, throughout the entire NHL. So for him to be one of the stars of the week, just really great for Charlie Lindgren. And, the big thing for me is solidifying a position that was so inconsistent last season. You took a look at Samsonov and Vanacek. Both goalies are actually doing pretty well on their respective teams. And, I wish them nothing but the best. But the Capitals tried to retread that tire for 2 years, and they weren't able to do it. So to have Lindgren, to have Darcy Kemper here, really great acquisitions and solidify that position. So you can kind of stop, making excuses for this team that they're not winning because of their net minding. They are getting rock solid net minding in Kemper and Lindgren.
Yeah, and it really has helped. When we started talking before we started recording this segment, we talked about some of the tough decisions that this team is going to have to make when some of the injured players get healthy. Who do you think is going to be the odd player or players out once guys start coming back into the lineup?
So I get asked that question quite a bit on YouTube and Twitter. I'm talking about all these players coming back. So if I had to make a knee-jerk reaction right now, the odd man out, I would say Joe Snively, who's a depth player, Alex Alexiev, something like that. Also Anthony Mantha, who's a very hot and cold player. He can, go on a goal-scoring tear and then not score goals for like 10 games. So he is someone, I would say, obviously he's not going to get sent to Hershey, but, maybe on the trade market coming up potentially. Another player was one of the ones that they picked up. Nicholas Abe-Kubel probably would be another odd man out there. But they are facing some tough decisions coming up here because you have Backstrom coming back, Wilson and TJ Oshie. They're going to need to find spots in there somewhere. Another player that's a bit hot and cold is Alexei Protas. He started the season, playing so well, in fact, that they couldn't send him down to Hershey. He played that well, but he, at times has not truly lived up to potential. So there are some players and pieces that are going to get moved. I think ultimately it's going to have to do with how they're playing at that given moment because, you could take Mantha and maybe we're recording this today. Maybe he's going to score 10 goals in 10 games coming up here, and that will change everything. But, my knee-jerk reaction right now would be the players that I just mentioned.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to see. A good problem to have. Most teams would love to have it. Dan, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
So you can find me on Twitter. It's at DanCaps218. You can find the show on Twitter. It's at Locked On Caps. And of course, the podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Just look for Locked On Capitals.
All right. Dan Holmi, thank you so much for joining us. Happy and a healthy new year to you.
Happy New Year to you.
Today's episode is brought to you by Athletic Greens. Our next partner has a product I literally use every day. I started taking AG1 because I'm not a great pill taker, and I wanted to be able to take something that didn't involve taking 5, 6, 7 pills a day in order to get the nutrition that I need. So what is this stuff? Well, with one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all these things. And it's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy free, or gluten free. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.